kilometers later on the Atlantic coast in the town of Swakopmund. In 2015, 100 riders took up the challenge that would test both their physical and mental capabilities, whilst also giving them a first-hand view of some of the most spectacular scenery in southern Africa. The tone for the next 6 days was set on the start line the next morning, relaxed and laid back, but very excited about what lay ahead for us, particularly the Quest novices.
I didn't expect lots of mountains and lots of climbing, but apparently we're going to climb a bit today. And yeah, I think it's going to be tough and hard and nice and hot, so exciting times await.
This is the 5th edition of the Windhoek Light Namib Quest. It's an extraordinary event. Over the years it's grown, and this year over 100 riders taking on the challenge. And it is a significant challenge, certainly one of the toughest of these type of mountain bike stage races on the African continent. And for 6 days down to Swakopmund will certainly be tested. Stage 1 is certainly going to be one of those testing ones. 68 kilometers, 1,200 meters of climbing.
And so we rolled away from the beautiful Windhoek Country Club. We had a short neutral section of tar, just to get the legs warmed up. Then followed the first climb of the week, Kupferberg Pass, as we headed in a southwesterly direction. Up front, the racing snakes needed little invitation to show their strengths. 3 teams soon separated from the rest. Kia Elite's Michael Pretorius and Brandon Pleitjies up front. Mani's bike maker pair of Xavier Popo and Chipe Morangi, and the Hollard 2 team of Heike Redeker and Gerard Mans Jr. Pretorius and Pleitjies, both under 20, charged into the Harris farmlands where the terrain was a lot more demanding, with plenty of rough jeep tracks and short, sharp climbs and descents. This is a vast cattle farming region of Namibia, and the wonderful cooperation of the farmers ensured we could share the lands and trails with these mighty beasts. The first overnight camp was an oasis alongside a rarity in these parched lands, a small dam. The Kia Elite team paid for their early efforts and were passed by Hollard 2, and it was Heike Redeker and Gerard Mans Jr. who took the day 1 honours, 4 minutes and 11 seconds ahead of Pretorius and Pleitjies.
We've done what we wanted to today. We've got a bit of a lead. So tomorrow the plan is just to stick with the guys in front up till maybe about halfway and see what they do.
The first mixed team home were the 4th team as well. One of South Africa's top women's racers, Jolandi de Villiers from Oudtshoorn, and her partner Delarae Brugman from the Western Cape, riding for Sure Global Travel. And less than a minute behind them, the leading women's team of Michelle Forster and Irene Steyn of MBM Ladies. A significant early marker laid down by the Hollard pair. With 5 days to go, they'll have their work cut out though to defend that advantage. The mixed and women's leaders had both opened up big gaps on their rivals already. After a deep sleep, we began stage 2 at a leisurely 8:30 in the morning. Ahead lay another tough day, 78 kilometers, just over 1,400 meters of climbing. Kia Elite, they needed to make up time, were on the front early on, pulling Mani's bike maker and Hollard 2 along with them. At the first water point, it was Kia and Mani's bike maker who led the race. Hollard 2 had lost time through a mechanical. The loose, rocky jeep tracks played havoc with tyres, and soon it was Popo and Morangi on the front, but not for long. They had to repair a puncture. Chasing hard were Redeker and Mans as they had to make up time now. They were unaware of Morangi and Popo's problems. These remote cattle farms in the Kommes-Hochland region speak of hardy farmers who've had to endure wicked heat and drought, but their pioneering spirits prevail. The chase was on for Popo and Morangi, heads down working hard. Up front, Kia Elite were hanging on desperately to their lead, but all to no avail because Redeker and Mans powered through to take the lead and the win on stage 2. They extended their overall advantage. Further back in the field, we were enjoying the amazing network of trails and spectacular views. Occasionally, we had to stop and open and close farm gates. A true adventure. Another impressive ride by the Hollard pair, who both represented Namibia at the Commonwealth Games last year. Their overall lead now just short of 10 minutes over Pleitjies and Pretorius of Kia Elite. Steyn and Forster, awesome once again. They finished 4th overall, some 11 minutes ahead of the Sure Global Travel mixed team of de Villiers and Brugman. We were now deep in the beautiful but hilly Kommes-Hochland area. Remote and somewhat inhospitable, the arid hills and valleys were a wonderful playground for us on the Namib Quest. There was little respite in the undulating landscape. The top three teams again at it, hammer and tongs. Brandon opening the gate. Teammate Michael will close it. The others will wait. Good race etiquette being observed by the top men here. But then trouble for Heiko and Gerard, a puncture. Quickly repairing it, they had to get on the chase once again. Their overall lead slipping away from them. Meanwhile, Chippe and Xavier had gapped it. Gerard and Heiko leave our camera bike in their dust. Ahead, a long, steep and particularly gnarly climb into the second water point. And this could be a decisive area in the race. Marnie's bike maker sense a possible win. They were on their own up front and in the wilderness. Mere specks on the landscape. Chasing hard, the key elite there, Brandon on the front and Michael at the back. That gives an indication of just how steep this climb was. Steady tempo for Heiko and Gerard as they made their way towards the water point. They were chipping away at the advantage of the other two teams. Gerard is the son of former Namibian rugby captain Gerard Mans, who is also riding in the race. Michelle Forster and Irene Steyn, the leading women, have company this time in the shape of leading solo rider Johan Faber. He's a powerhouse. Michelle and Irene would hang with him most of the week. Yolandi smiling away up the climb, a few meters behind her partner Delore Bruchman deep in the pain cave. Up at the finish, Xavier Popo and Chippe Morangi flew into camp to take their first stage win. Taking advantage of the Marnie's bike maker team, they've smashed open the overall standings. Further back, Seamus O'Neill is the perfect partner, opening the gate for his Kalahari Ferrari teammate Sandy Kelly. It's truly a wilderness experience. Fortunately, the weather played its part. Temperatures really above 28 degrees, perfect for riding. Great vantage point to watch the riders. It was relentless stuff. MBM ladies Michelle and Irene enjoyed a week-long tussle with Johan Faber, and on stage 3 they engaged in a friendly dash for the line. Johan defending his dignity, but only just. As usual, the camp was immaculate. The effort put in by race organisers Tinus Hansen and Basil Smith, extraordinary. It was a huge effort by the leading men's teams as well. Slightly shorter day for all, and a change. With Marnie's bike maker taking the win, Heiko and Gerard back in third, their overall lead slashed to just a few minutes. It was business as usual in the women's and mixed categories. It was as diverse a field of riders as you could wish to meet, all with their own goals and ambitions and with a story to tell. Let's meet one of those real characters, Fred van Zyl.
I've been farming for 40 years and we finished off our farming, well not finished, my son took over the farm 5 years ago and we've retreated, not retired, we've retreated to Mossel Bay and we're living in Mossel Bay and it's lovely at the sea there. I actually started 10 years ago and it happened, my wife started a spinning club in Richmond and there weren't enough gentlemen to take part in the spinning club, so I joined and a week later there was a cycling competition in Richmond. I took part in that and then I got hooked on cycling. Oh, it's been fantastic. If I just take the most important thing in my life is my health and I've just got healthier and healthier and fitter and I can just recommend it to any person who gets to the later age of life. Start cycling, all your problems, pains, aches and pains will disappear. It's Cape Epic, Sani to Sea, Wines to Wales, Atterquas a couple, 361s, I've done 4 of them. This is my second time with the Namib quest, and yeah, there've been plenty. It's just one develops a passion for it. It's the outdoor life, and the biggest thing is that my wife, who is my biggest supporter, and my backup always goes with me, so we do it together, which is very important, and we just love cycling. You know, if you've got a bucket list for cycling, I reckon that this event is a priority. You should have it in your bucket list. And we're doing it the second time, and it's something totally unique and different to any other race. It is very challenging and it's manageable. Depending upon your fitness, you've got to be fit, you've got to be tough, but it's excellent. It's a wonderful experience to be out in this open country, and it's beautiful.
Of that, there is little doubt, Fred. An incredible way to explore this stunning countryside. Stage 4 began with a 6-kilometre climb out of the camp, which would account for 400 of the 1,100 metres of climbing we were facing over the 78 Ks. The back half of the field started half an hour before the fast bunch, and virtually without exception, all of us in the slower group were reduced to pushing at some stage on the initial ascent. This is rugged countryside. Everywhere you looked, there were mountains. It didn't take the leading teams too long to ride into the back end of the field. Kia and Marnie's bike maker up front with Hollard 2 playing the waiting game once again. The slower riders doing the right thing and moving aside. Heiko Redeker and Gerard Mans awaiting an opportunity to pounce, which they did. And they attacked and attacked hard. They had time to make up. Trouble for Chipe and Xavier. They would be plagued with mechanicals, the first of many punctures. Today's second major challenge came at around 40 kilometres, a back-breaking climb over a ridge. Whilst the gradient was tough, the loose surface made traction almost impossible, and even the very best were reduced to pushing. These are tough mountain bikers. It was a welcome relief to hit the hard, smooth, open district roads, and getting in a bunch certainly paid rich dividends. It was a fast and fun way to finish another really hard day's riding on the Windhoek Light Namib quest. Campsite within sight. We were all smiles, a nice early finish. After their stage 3 problems, Hollard's Heiko and Gerard powered to victory in a stunning fashion, putting over 17 minutes into Brandon and Michael of Kier. Xavier and Chipe would rue all the mechanicals they lost acres of time. Irene and Michelle, all class again, as were Delaray and Yolandi. A stunning desert sunrise greeted us on day 5. An earlier start because the stage was the longest. At 126 kilometres, we were leaving the mountains behind us, to the relief of many, and heading into the desert, which meant long, flat, open roads and the potential of wind. So in order to avoid the worst of the westerly, we settled with first light. Key to a happy day in the saddle was a bit of teamwork, not just with your partner, but also with the teams around you. As the sun rose, so we found our groups and settled into a steady rhythm. 96 kilometres on the same road before turning off. It was so different to the first 4 days, exhilarating as we averaged between 35 and 40 k's an hour. A chance to appreciate the raw beauty of the Namibian plains, the rugged mountains looming behind and around us. Heiko and Gerard certainly looking comfortable. The high speed of the front bunch soon whittled the group down to the usual suspects as they wound their way towards the Nowcliff National Park and the famous moon landscape. Johan Faber had managed to stay with the top 3 teams. Here launched an attack, but soon found mechanical problems. Exposed to the elements, we were again grateful for the relatively mild temperatures, but still hot going, and a chance to stop and take in the view was very welcome. The drop down into the campsite was an absolute thrill and a spectacular sight. It was in this extraordinary moon landscape that the blockbuster movie Mad Max Fury Road was shot not too long ago. It was as if we were heading to the depths of the earth at speed. Mans and Redeker duly claimed their 4th stage win ahead of the luckless Plaatjes and Pretorius. The camp certainly was an oasis, and another early finish, plenty of time to recover. One of the real problems of riding in such a beautiful environment was how to do it justice to your friends. Do you show them these pictures at the risk of doing that? Please note, no one was injured in the making of that film, shot by Rory Mad Max McFarlane. Just 2 minutes and 3 seconds separated Hollard 2 and Kia Elite. A much better day also for Marnie's bike mecha. It could not have gone much better though for MBM Ladies and Sure Global Travel Mixed. The The Windhoek Light Namib Quest is one of only a few stage races in Namibia, and as a point-to-point race offers riders the opportunity to experience a truly spectacular piece of Africa from the saddle of a mountain bike. A rare opportunity indeed, and whilst not a family fun ride, it's definitely a challenge that most regular mountain bikers could handle.
We identified the fact that Namibia didn't have any multi-stage mountain biking events, and given the terrain that we've got at our disposal, the diverse landscapes and so forth, it was a no-brainer. We've got everything here, so we decided to take the plunge and put the event together. In 2010, we actually got a whole bunch of 1 in 50,000 maps, identified where we'd like to have gone, and then it was a question of getting on the ground with motorbikes, bicycles, 4x4s, and actually driving the route and finding the different roads. And going with that, we go through 18 different commercial farms en route. Is obviously managing the relationship with the farmers. It's a commercial, it's commercial farms that we're going through. So that's quite a big challenge for us, for the event. Well, we built 5 race villages, so it's not a question of us leapfrogging race villages. We need to set up, the main infrastructure beforehand. So 7 days before the event starts, the guys are actually building, each camp, all 5 of them. I mean, in the last week we shipped to the tune of 160 tons worth of equipment. And often the roads are very bad. Trucks often struggle to get to the places. So yeah, it's quite a big challenge in terms of logistics. The first 4 days takes us through the folded mountains of the Kommet-Hochland, which really chucks everything at you. From rocks, steep ascents, descents. There's certainly a bit of everything. The last 2 days you drop down into the Nightcliff Park, and then people would think that you start climbing sand dunes on your mountain bike, but that's not the case. It's fairly hard and it's fairly quick going. It's nice and flat, so it puts another element on the last 2 days.
The final day of the Namib Quest brought a different challenge, a ride against the clock in the form of a 56-kilometre time trial into Swakopmund. With the field having left the start at 1-minute intervals in ascending order, last to depart were the race leaders Gerard Mans and Heiko Redeker, Pollard 2. The first 8 kilometres was a climb out of the valley on a smooth road, and the pair soon settled into a tidy rhythm. Not so everyone, legs were cold. But Gerard and his partner Heiko had a job to do. They had a comfortable lead in the overall, so they weren't going to take any risks. It was Plaikis and Pretorius of Kia Elite who had all to risk today. A very different experience this, riding on our own in this extraordinary environment. Women's leaders Michelle Forster and Irene Stein emerging from the moon landscape. Perfect harmony. We soon turn westward, having reached the summit, and a stiff breeze at our backs for a while before we hit the headwinds as we rode alongside the power lines. KwaZulu-Natal farmers Haka de Boer and Malcolm Green toiling up the climb. Chipe Morangi and Xavier Popo again going strong. The powerful Gerard Mans Jr. doing a great job into the easterly wind as they closed in on Swakopmund. Into the streets of the Erongo district capital, and Heiko and Gerard put the finishing touches to their week with a classy but conservative ride in the time trial. They finished in second place, but well clear as overall winners.
Yeah, there was a bit of everything in today. A bit of a climb on the cold legs this morning, which was quite harsh. From there on, a couple of rollers, thick sand, and the last bit was into the wind. So yeah, it was an interesting stage today.
It's nice to go and explore the terrain and all the different kinds of areas here in Namibia and just see the landscape. So it was very, very beautiful and a very nice experience.
Michelle Forster and Irene Stein continued their dominant week with another smooth ride to victory in the women's race to complete an outstanding race for the Windhoek pair.
Yeah, it was a tough week. It was rough terrain, but I must say between Irene and myself, we didn't have any technicals. Oh, well, we did have, but small enough, so we were very blessed and fortunate with that.
It's a fun event, and that's like everyone, we know each other so well, all the participants. It's so nice just to be part of the quest.
And Jolandi de Villiers led partner Delray Bruchman across the line to win the mixed race. A job well done by the Sure Global Travel pair, who were never challenged in their category.
Fantastic, nice little climb in the beginning and awesome through the desert. Nice to see the sea now, yeah. But I'm absolutely in love with Namibia. I'll always come back.
The people over here, they overflow with kindness, and the terrain, the pristine natural beauty. I did not see one piece of paper in my entire trip in 6 days. And it's commendable, you know, it's actually quite touching to experience that in such a beautiful terrain.
The only team to finish the final stage in under 2 hours, Brandon Plykies and Michael Pretorius, finally took a stage win. Hollard 2, Heiko and Gerard just under 5 minutes back and 5 minutes ahead of Marnie's bike maker. Irene and Michelle just over a minute behind Chippe and Xavier. Hollard 2 emerged with just over 16 minutes in hand to take the overall win ahead of the Kia Elite youngsters. Xavier and Chippe will reflect on a day of costly mechanicals earlier in the week as they finished 55 minutes down on the winners. MVM ladies simply outstanding. Delray Bruchman will reflect on one of the harder weeks of his cycling career as he hung on with the superbly in form and conditioned Jolandi de Villiers. A wonderful atmosphere prevailed at the prize giving as every single rider stayed on to enjoy the camaraderie. They all finished with a medal and a shirt, and of course the category winners walked away with a sizable check, Jolandi and Delray in the mixed. In the women's race it was Michelle Forster and Irene Stain. And joining the list of winners on the magnificent Kuduhorn Trophy, the Hollard 2 team of Gerard Mans Jr. and Heiko Redeker. Well ridden all of them.